Hello everyone, welcome to J-Hook Crochet. I'm Reggie and this is the Yarniversity. I am so very happy that you're all here today. And today we have a very interesting subject. Now, ever since I posted the subject here on YouTube and on the Facebook group in different social media groups, I've been getting responses from people who say they hate math, they cannot even think about math, they cannot do math. So I promise you all today's live stream will be a good one and it will be fun. So we will not do like a dry math lesson, okay? You guys know me. I don't think that any of these chats are ever boring. So hello everyone, welcome. Thank you all for joining today. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up when you come in, and if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, I would very much appreciate it if you consider subscribing. If you're new here, hello, welcome. If you look at the chat, you will see that some of the names are lighted up in blue. Those are my moderators. I have not yet looked if they are here yet today, but when they are joining us, Catherine from Little Bish's Stitches, who made also this beautiful necklace that I am wearing today, and Catherine from Cat's Eye Catchers. So they are both my moderators, and if you see anyone whose name is lit up in green and they have a little logo next to their name, those are my channel members. And if you are interested in joining the J-Hook Crochet membership, all you have to do is press the little join button on the bottom of the screen. It's right next to the subscribe button, and you will find everything you need to know about the membership program. And if you can't see the join button for any reason, then in the description box below this video there is also a link that will take you directly to the membership program page. Now I'm going to take attendance in the chat and see who is with us today in class. So, oh wow, you guys were talking a lot. All right. So hey, Catherine is here. And Crafty Chats, hello. Christy from Christy's Creation, good day. And Sanita says she's ready to learn some math. And Julie's here, hello Julie. And Heidi, hello. And Anvita is here. Welcome Anvita, I hope you got my email back. And Gigi's here, Gloria from Gigi the Crochet Queen, hello. And Lori is here, hi Lori. She said she went to fill up her Yarniversity mug. And Quilted Crocheter is here, and Handmade Designs, hello, welcome, welcome, hi, and the other Catherine's here as well from Little Bish's Stitches, hi, welcome. And I see Shashi Stitches, hi. How are you doing? And Sandy is here, good morning to Sandy, and hi to everyone. And Debbie Loves Yarn is here. Hey, Debbie, did you get my email back? I got your email, I wrote you back, and I didn't hear back from you. If you haven't seen it, I emailed you back. If you have seen it, please answer me so we can work out those details. And hi to Wilma. Hi, welcome. Crafty Chats, you are not in trouble. Don't worry, it's gonna be fun. Hello to everyone. Life is a jam. Hello. I don't believe I've seen you here before, so welcome. And cheers to you for joining us. For those of you who don't know, I live in Germany, so it is way after 5 o'clock here, and I always drink wine on those live lessons. Hello, Unapologetically Mocha, welcome. And Vita, you did get the email, wonderful. Debbie, you will respond. It's been difficult. I know you've said there's a lot going on, and I am like no stress, no pressure. Only because we were talking about next week's live, which I will talk about in a second with everyone. And hello, Francie, welcome again. Yes, I will definitely talk about how to make this easier for you guys. But as usual, before we begin, there are a few administrative things that we have to do. So first of all, I want to welcome all the new members who joined the membership program over the last week. So since last or at the beginning of the last live stream on last Sunday, I told you guys of the members who joined, and so now I'm going to say hello and thank you to all the new members who joined since the beginning of last live stream. So we have Lori Armstrong and NG Prescott, hello and welcome, and Catherine from Little Vicious Stitches, and Dee from Knit Pearl and Squirrel, and Joyce, and Anvita and Christy. So those are the members who joined over the last week, and shout out to all of you guys. Thank you very, very much for joining the membership program. I really, really appreciate it. Also, thank you to people who used my affiliated links over the past week. If any of you doesn't know yet, at the bottom of the description box in each one of my videos, there is a list of affiliated links or just different websites that you get discounts at with different discount codes if you're a subscriber of my channel. To you, it doesn't cost anything, but some of them, again, not all of them, but some of them do give me a little something, and I use everything that I earn from this or from Super Chats. If you donate through Super Chat during the live stream, if you join the membership program, if you donate through PayPal, and thank you for the people who donate through PayPal this past week. I don't expect anything, I don't ask for anything, but if you do choose to do that, I am very, very grateful. So thank you to the 3 people who donated through PayPal this week. All of the incomes from the Etsy shop and the Teespring shop, all of these, that all goes back into the channel. So everything that I make from this channel and around this channel goes back into putting content into the channel. So that's how I can afford to introduce you to new places to buy yarn from. This is how I can do yarn reviews. This is how I can better my equipment and branch into different platforms. So this is all very, very helpful, and thank you all for everyone who shopped on the Etsy store. A lot of people bought my new pattern this past week, and I was very, very happy for that. Just so you know, for those of you who are viewers of my channel, there is a discount code for viewers of my channel that works all year round, and that's in the description box below. If you are members of the membership program, of the either sophomore, junior, or senior, so any of the three of these three levels of membership, then you get 20% off, and with that special code of the members. But if you're not in the membership program and you are a subscriber of the channel, then there is a link there is a code in the description box below, which will give you I believe 15% off, and that works all year round on everything on the store. So, hello, Toro 8 star. Hello, welcome. Lori says She chipped her cup. No! Still usable, so all good, but my heart sank. Oh no, Lori, that is terrible. Oh no, the Yarniversity cap. I'm so sorry. Hi, Denise. Welcome. You're going to listen while you do your Sunday drudgery. Okay. Ooh, hello, Jamie. Welcome. Jamie just joined the membership program. So cheers to you, Jamie. You get a cheers, and all of our members who are in the chat right now, please use the special emoji for cheers to new members. Welcome. Yes, Lori, do be careful with that chipped cup. Hello, Lacey, welcome. And Jamie, yes, you are now enrolled in the Yarniversity. Yeah, so in case you haven't watched the video of the membership program, there are 4 different levels of membership. You can join freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. And when you join, you get those special purple emojis to use in the chat, all in signature J-Hook Crochet purple. And I have worked very hard to design those emojis, and I am not very good with designing things on a computer, so I'm very proud of them. And you also get the little icon next to your name, and the longer you stay a member, that icon will change colors until it will also be a signature J-Hook Crochet purple. And you get all kinds of perks, like I said. So the freshman program gets everything that the freshman program gets, but on top of that, sophomores also get the discount on the Teespring and the Etsy shop. If you join a junior, then you not only get the emojis, the little icon, the discount on the stores, and you also get access to special membership only live streams. And if you join the top level, which is the senior level, then you will get a special access to a once a month live crochet along, where we will together on a live crochet an item together in one live stream. So 1 project a month, but that's, you know, depending on the different levels. So everyone's raising their glasses. It's on the top, so your lips are safe. That's wonderful, Lori. I'm happy to hear that. Oh, Denise did the cheers with the beer cups, which is very much my liking here in Germany. Debbie says her college professor usually drank before lecture hall, not during. Well, I can do that because it's my class. Jamie, don't worry. You don't have to be frightened. I know that the name of the class, Crochet Math, might be intimidating, but in a little bit you will find out that it's all things that all of you already use. You just maybe don't know how to figure them out yourself if they're not reading in a pattern, or if you want to develop a pattern by yourself. Then I will just give different kinds of tips of how to, and we will talk about how to figure out how to do those on your own. Hello, Tamara. You remember to come on in this week. Greetings from Texas. Greetings. Hello. Lori says that devilish poo emojis is so aggressive. Yeah. It is I think it's appropriate for how much everyone in the chat hates math, right? So you see that it's useful. Crafty Chats Cafe says she's so proud of her cousin. She just taught herself how to knit. Oh, that is wonderful. How old is she? That is great. Lori, you guess I do identify slithering. Yeah, I am. I'm slithering. Oh, my bag is not here today because I was working on my on my whip in the living room. It's there. But yeah, I'm a total Slytherin. I'm a total B with a big B. For those of you who know me outside of YouTube. Yeah, so I do have that side of me, but you know, I think it's in a cool vibe kind of way and not in like a mean kind of way. Catherine says, maybe it's from when we are talking during class again. Yes, exactly, Catherine. When you two talk in the back of the class and make other people not listen, that's when that emoji comes to play. Jamie says she's homeschooling her kids this year, and yup, grade 3 math is, yeah, a mind blow. I totally get that, Jamie. So many of us parents, well, not specifically me, because my kids are still in kindergarten, but so many parents are homeschooling this year, and we are discovering that things that the kids are learning in the school right now is way over our head. You know, once you finish school, you're done with it. You don't use it again. But I promise you, everything we're going to talk about today is things you do use on a daily basis when you crochet. But I'm going to teach you how they work and how to figure them out yourselves. She's in her mid-20s in law school. Oh, that's a great, fun pastime thing to do. Well, you know, it's very stress relieving. Do not boo Slytherin, Catherine. Don't get on my mean side. Don't worry, math is not my strong suit either. I will start with saying I also hate math, okay? Math was my least favorite subject in school. That is not to say that I'm bad at it. I was always very good in math, but it did not contradict the fact that I hated every single minute of it. When I went to school, I had several math teachers, and I hated each and every one of them, not because they were not nice people or because they were not good teachers, just because the subject they taught was math. And that went on when I went to university. So, I mean, I never had a good relationship with math. So this is not like a math kind of like hard math kind of lesson. We're just going to talk about how math comes to be in crochet and how we can figure it out ourselves, how to sometimes when there's a math in a pattern, or how to figure out different stuff in the pattern using math. And that's what we're going to do today. And it's really not anything too hard, or like don't expect equations or anything like that. Yeah, that's way beyond my abilities. Crafty Chat says she thinks J.K. Rowling misrepresented Slytherin. Nothing in the world is that black and white. And Cheryl Lee says, yes, I definitely agree, and I am a kindergarten teacher. See? Lori is actually looking forward to this topic. She thinks it will open new possibilities for me. Yeah, that's the point. And that's why we're here. That's why we do this every week. And hello, Kim. Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining. Yeah, that's why we're here today. We are just, you know, here to make this fun and to see how we use that in our everyday crochet and how we use that to our advantage. So before I get on to it, I'm going to start with, I'm going to say a few more things. I'm going to start with a question and then we'll hit it off. So first of all, I want to remind you all, if you haven't yet entered the giveaway from last week. Last week we spoke about all the crochet gadgets and different crochet accessories. And if you haven't yet gone back to last week's live stream and commented under the live stream, then you still have until the end of today's live stream to go and do that in order to enter for the giveaway. Now, don't close this window, don't close this chat, just open another tab on your computer or on your phone. Go back to my channel and open last week's live stream, the one about crochet gadgets and accessories, and comment under the live stream which one of the gadgets that we were talking about you liked the most, or did you maybe after the live stream go and buy one or whatever. let me know in the comments. And at the end of today's live stream, we will choose a winner, and the winner of that will get a surprise assortment of crochet gadgets and accessories from me. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff in there that I chose from the different things that we spoke about, and that little package will be the prize for last week. And of course, we're going to have one this week as well. So first of all, not now. When this live stream is over, when it goes into replay, and come back to this live stream and comment underneath in the comments. Not now in the chat because it wouldn't count. So, and if you're watching it on replay, just on the comment section below, just comment what was the most helpful thing that we spoke about today. So you cannot do it now because first of all, we're still live. And second of all, you still don't know what we talked about. But at the end of the live stream, you will know what was the subject that was most helpful to you and what are you taking out of this live stream with you into your crocheting. And the prize for today, for today's question, will be this very cute pattern book, and it is it's called Make a Crochet Garden. There are 9 stylish projects for succulents, cacti, and flowers in there, and you can see some of them here. There's like this cactus here and a plant hanger and some coasters that look like cacti, and in the back you can see this. It's a pencil holder cover. It's a very, very cute book. And this will be the prize for today's live stream. And to go along with it, you will also get a special, I don't think you can see it, but those are car stickers for your car. And they're all, there's like different yarny ones in the back with some yarn balls and some yarn ball with a crochet hook in it. And of course, there's also a wine glass. So that's the prize for today. So when this live stream ends and you come back to this one and you commenting on this live stream and say what was the most helpful information we spoke about today, and the winner for that will be drawn next week. And next week, we are going to have a party. So for those of you who haven't heard yet, next week on the 7th of February, we are going to have another one of my live game shows. Just as we did in the holidays, for the holiday season, we're going to do one for Valentine's Day. And on that one, we're going to once again have lots of different trivia questions and a lot of different winners. And we have so many makers I'm so excited about, but I cannot tell you guys about because I don't want to ruin the surprise. But we have so many really good makers donating really exciting prizes for this live stream. And if you are a maker and you still want to get in on this, you still can. Just write me an email to my email that's in the description box below this video and say you want to contribute a prize for the live stream, and we will work it out over the week. It's gonna be really good, and I'm really, really excited about it. So don't miss next week's live stream. There's no class next week, there's a live game show. And then the week after, on the 14th of February, it's Valentine's Day, and we're not gonna have class. So on the 14th of February, there is no Yarniversity. That's 1 week that we're going to skip. All right, I think that's it in terms of announcement. Let's go back to the chat and see what you guys talked about before we start class. Tamara says, math is a language. It's totally a language. Yeah, vocabulary and patterns. You teach math. Most people aren't good at things they don't like. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Since we like crochet, the math that has to do with crochet is fun. And Catherine says she tends to get completely confused when she has to multiply repeats. We'll definitely talk about that. And hello, Tris. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And everyone saying hi to everyone. And Kim says that is super cute. I guess you're talking about the book that I showed. And hi, Anita. You're not yet late. We haven't started class yet. We're just chit-chatting the intro still. And Kim, where are those stickers from? So those are Darn Good Yarn stickers. For those of you who don't know, Darn Good Yarn is one of the companies that I am affiliated with. There is an affiliate link in the description box below this video. If you do shop at Darn Good Yarn, I will very much appreciate it if you use my link when you shop there. Again, I don't get I don't become a millionaire off of it. I guess it's just a few cents or maybe $1, depending on how much you spend. It's I think it's 5% or whatever of your purchase, and it doesn't cost you anymore. You pay the same, but if you use my affiliate link while shopping, then I get a small kickback off of it. Jamie says she watched a crochet fail completion of people making cactus plants. Oh no. Yes, don't forget the thumbs up, everyone. Hit the thumbs up when you enter the room. If you're new here, welcome. I would very much appreciate it if you consider subscribing to my channel. I am at 2,550 subscribers, which is mind-blowing for me. When I started this channel, I keep saying it every time, but when I started this channel, I told my husband if 10 people watch, I will be happy. So 2,200. There, I am mind blown. Very, very happy. Kim says she's going to send me pics of your prize to show next week. Oh, okay, yeah, definitely, Kim. Thank you. Hi, Debbie. Hi. Welcome. Anita says Marley Bird is also having her game day mystery make along next Sunday. Is it on the same time? Isn't it kind of noontime there? Hello, Elisa. Welcome. Thank you, Tris. Thank you. And Pamela is here. Hello, Pamela. Welcome. Just stopping by to say hello. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming. I can't watch, but you're going to watch a playback. Love you too, Pamela. Thank you for being here. She's doing both crocheting. Okay, you guys are sharing between yourself, so I can start. So, we are talking, like I said, crochet math. Again, this is crochet math. This is not mind-blowing math and equations and everything, so don't expect something too complicated. Like I said in the beginning, most of this are stuff that you probably already use on your daily basis in crochet. You just don't know, and I'm going to explain to you how to apply it yourself so that you can come up with your own patterns or adjust patterns if you need to, and so on. So we're going to start with a question, and aside from, oh my god, I hate math. So what comes to your mind when you think about crochet math? Let me know in the chat, let's say it this way, what are things in crochet that are mathematical subjects that you are interested in or want to know how to do or can't figure out how to do by yourself, or if they're not reading in a pattern, then you don't know how to do them. And that has anything that has to do with crochet in that matter. So it can be multiple of increases. It can be how to increase or decrease a certain thing, how to use, if I have a stitch and I want to make it in a blanket, how do I know how much those kind of questions. It can also be how do I calculate how much yarn I used in a certain project, or how do I calculate how much yarn I need for a certain project, and so on. So all these kind of things, write them now in the chat. I'll go over them and see what you guys are saying, and then we'll just continue from there. So today's class is, I have all the things that I want to talk about, but unlike other classes when I normally have everything, you know, set up and I go by my, I thought it would be more helpful to you guys if I see what are the topics that are more needed for you guys and then choose out of those, other than just talk about the whole bunch of them. And then maybe some of you won't get the answers that they're looking for. Oh no, Lori, I'm sorry that the Wi-Fi sucks. So Kim says increasing or decreasing a circle. Is it increasing or decreasing a circle or in a circle? Or do you mean increasing and decreasing, comma, and circles? Stitch multiples, stitch count multiples. Yeah, I had a feeling that this is going to be a hot subject. How to make stitches into patterns, says Lacey. Garment, upsizing and downsizing. That's a good one, Kim. Changing size of yarns. That's a very good one. I'm actually an expert on that one. Even increasing and decreases. How to use multiples to make something bigger and smaller. Well, that's all sizing. Stitch counts, and finally using algebra on repeat or directions. Okay. Number of chains to begin various size of afghans. I have a wonderful solution for that. Making hats, increasing and decreasing on hats. You mean, or making hat? Yeah, well, you said making hats, comma, increasing and decreasing. Okay. How do you figure out the multiple in a pattern? That is a good one. We'll talk about that in a second. Making size inclusive garments. Yes, I get it. How to convert a pattern from one weight of yarn to another. Yeah, that's a question that we already spoke about, or we already mentioned. Calculating how many starting stitches you need when adapting a pattern. Increase, decrease, making a pattern larger or smaller. All right, so I think you all pretty much have the same issues, which are very, very similar to the issues that I thought we're gonna have. So we're going to start by saying pretty much most of the things that we make in crochet are different geometrical shapes, right? So we make a triangle shawl, a half circle, or we make something that's a circle, like a circle vest or a circle shawl, or we make a garment and it's made out of different rectangles put together, or we make a top-down sweater like the one on Imogen, and then the top is also it's not a square, but sort of like a rectangle when you work top down, or sometimes it's the circle if the opening is a circle, so it's also a circle, and then you have to decrease and increase. But most of them are already geometrical shapes. Even when we do a ruffle scarf that's not made out of ruffle yarn. Yeah, so if you use regular yarn and we want to make this this spiral, so a spiral is also a geometrical shape. Yeah, all those things, they are all obviously based on math. So it's math that we do every single day. We just don't really realize that we do it, and most of the time someone already did the math for us if we read a pattern or we follow a tutorial, so somebody already did the math for us. But then we say, like most of you asked in the chat, but wait, what if I want to do it bigger? What if I want to do it smaller? What if I want to do it in a different yarn? What if I want to use that stitch that I saw on that hat pattern and make a matching cowl with it? How do I know with how many stitches I start? How do I know how to increase and decrease it? Or I have a very nice book that has 101 crochet stitches. Yeah, and okay, but how do I now put that into a shawl? I want to design a triangle shawl with that stitch. How do I do that? So those are the questions that most of us ask ourselves, that make us have to use the math. So this is what we're here for today, and that's actually what I'm going to start with. How to calculate how much yarn a project requires. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Hi, Maribel, welcome. And oh, Kim, hello. Thank you, Kim. Welcome. Cheers. Cheers to a new member. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for joining. And all our members are now chinging with their glasses in the chinging with the glasses in the chat. Welcome, Kim. All right, so so the first thing we want to know or we need to know in a pattern is most of the time is the stitch count, right? So that's every single pattern starts with the buildup of the stitch count. If we make an afghan, someone said in the chat and asked how to calculate the beginning or chain of an afghan. If I have the stitch pattern, I want to make an afghan in this stitch. And now I want it to be this and that size long, this and that size wide, wide, long. And how do I know how many chains? I don't have a pattern. I designed it myself. So figuring out what the stitch count is, that's pretty much the key when we start. From there on, we can work it out. So if we want to make a top-down shirt, but we want cables to go through all the way from the top to the bottom, how do I know how many rows do I work before I start a new cable? So those are the kind of things that require us to know the stitch count of the pattern. How many, what is a stitch count? I'm sorry. Is anyone in the chat does not know what I'm talking about when I say stitch count? If anyone doesn't know what stitch count is, say it now before I continue. Hi Judy, welcome. Thank you for joining. Been here from the beginning of the live, just working and lurking. We love lurkers. Welcome, Judy. Lacey says she just wanted to tell you that she's obsessed with your Castle Yarn subscription box. I am too. If you guys did not see the unboxing of the first edition of that yarn subscription, and go back to my channel, my latest video, the Castles of Europe yarn club. I unboxed it this week. It's beautiful and I can't wait to see next month. All right, so, well, nobody said in the chat that they have no idea what stitch count is. So I'm just going to assume that everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say stitch count. Oh, Lori says, can you define stitch count? Okay, so, yes, I can. Let's pull out. You guys should all know this, unless you missed class and didn't fill in. So, you remember this chart? I showed, this is the very first chart I showed you guys when we were talking about the charts and diagrams. Yeah, Lori, it is, when we talk about stitch count in a pattern, I do refer to the multiple. Yeah, the stitch multiple. There's also, of course, we also use the term stitch count when we want to know at the end of the round how many stitches are we supposed to have, or at the end of the row, that's also a stitch count. But in the beginning of a pattern, when we start a pattern or we start writing a pattern, or we want to work out something of our own and not from a written pattern, so the stitch multiple, yeah, that's what we're talking about. All right, so we're going to talk about this picture here that you see in front of you. So this is the reason I took this one out is because I feel like this would be the easiest to show you on, because there's a very easy stitch or repetition here. So Of course, specifically here, this is a diagram, so it already shows us how many chains we have to do. But let's say we don't know how many chains we have to do to begin. But we do know that this is the stitch that we're going to work. So let's look real quick at that stitch. That stitch is, well, this first chain 3 counts as a double crochet, as we see in the pattern. So the stitch is pretty much 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2, skip 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2, skip 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2, skip 2. So how many of these stitches are our repetition? So our repetition is a 6 stitch repetition. So it can either be starting with that double crochet. So either our stitch repetition is 4 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, or our stitch repetition is a chain 2, skip 2, 4 double crochet, or it can also be that our stitch repetition is 2 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochet. I hope that what I just said is clear. Yeah, out of this repetition of 6 stitches, we can cut it whichever way we want. Yeah, it's a multiple of 6, right? So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochet and chain 2, skip 2, no matter how we write it. But as we see, or we look at this chart, we see that it also ends with 4 double crochet. That means that if, let's say, our repetition is 4 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, so the last repetition here is not really complete. Yeah, we only work 4 of it. So let's cut the repetition a little differently. Let's say that our repetition is actually 2 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 2 double crochet, and we work it 1, 2, 3 times, and at the end of the row we add 2 more double crochet. So we have the 2 double crochet in the beginning of the row and the 2 double crochet in the end of the row, who are actually not part of the stitch repetition. Now, is what I just said clear before I explain how to use that to calculate your beginning chain? Is that clear that we have I will cut it differently so it's easier to see. We have 4 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 4 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, 4 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, and then 4 double crochet. So there's actually like extra 4 stitches on that row. Exactly, Lori. So that stitch pattern is a multiple of 6 plus 4. What does that mean? That means that when I chain my beginning chain, I'm going to chain a multiple of 6 as many times as I want to repeat the multiple of 6 in my pattern. And then once I have that chain long enough, the multiple of 6 plus 4. Catherine, that's a good question, but I will get to that in a second. Now, is it really a multiple of 6 plus 4? Not really, because we see that the first double crochet here, the first row is actually worked into the 4th chain from the hook. So these 3 chains here that count as the first double crochet, we also have to count them in our beginning chain. So yes, our multiple in this pattern, or along working the pattern, will be a multiple of 6 plus 4. However, our beginning chain also has to include those 3 chains for the first double crochet. So we actually chain a multiple of 6 plus 4 plus 3, and then we work plus 2, and then we work our double crochet. But I will explain it in a second. That is not the important part. The important part is, do we understand how to calculate the multiple of the stitch? Do we all understand why this is a multiple of 6 plus 4? So to answer Catherine's question, you don't have to only look at the first row, but you do have to know how many okay, it's a little bit confusing because we are looking at a chart. So I'm going to like let the chart go for a second. I'll go one step back. Let's say I want to make a waffle stitch blanket. Okay, I want to make a waffle stitch blanket. The waffle stitch is pretty much we work one front post, 2 double crochet, 1 front post, 2 double crochet, 1 front post, 2 double crochet, 1 front post, right? That's how it's worked. So we have the two, or well, of course it can be worked in different multiples or whatever, but let's say that's what I chose. So my pattern will begin with that front post double crochet. However, I cannot begin a row with a front post double crochet. So I have to add at least 1 more double crochet in each side of my blanket. Whatever I add, I have to add on the other side too, otherwise it won't be symmetrical. So I either add 2 to that, add 4 to that, but the multiple of the waffle stitch is actually a multiple of 3. It's not a multiple of 4, even though it sounds like it. But we actually, because we work 1 front post double crochet and then 2 regular double crochets, it's actually a multiple of 3, because then for the next one we begin with the front post double crochet again. So I'm just trying to put this into other words, into how to figure out how many. We need to look at the pattern and see, or read it. Let's say read the pattern. You know what? Let's say I have a written pattern. In the written pattern, we have those little stars. It says double crochet 1, right? And then little star, chain 2, double crochet 1 until the last stitch, and then double crochet 1, okay? For example, let's say this is my pattern. My pattern says double crochet in the first stitch, and then there's a little star, and it says chain 2, double crochet in the next, chain 2, skip 2, double crochet in the next stitch, repeat from the star until the end of until the last stitch, and double crochet in last stitch. Okay, so now I want to count what is my multiple. So my multiple, or what the repeat, is actually everything in between those stars, right? Because that's what I'm repeating. I'm repeating that chain 2, skip 2, double crochet. So let's count how many stitches that is. Chain 2 is 2 stitches, skip 2, the chain 2 and skip 2 are actually the same 2 stitches, and then 1 double crochet. So that's a multiple of 3. And then I have the 1 double crochet in the beginning of the row and the 1 double crochet in the end of the row. So that's a multiple of 3 plus 2. I hope that was clearer. I tried to get like the simplest way to explain it. Of course, the more complex the stitch that you choose, the more complex this calculation will be. But is the base of how to calculate what the multiple is clear or not? Hi, Crystal. Thank you for joining. Sorry, Catherine. If you don't count the chain and the first stitch, would it always be a multiple of 6 plus 4? If you don't count it. Ah, yeah. Okay, Kim says she got it now. I do, but still not sure how to use that to determine the starting chain. Don't worry, in a second. Catherine, you're not a crochet. That's okay. All right, so I think the example from the written pattern maybe was simpler. So let me try to do something real quick. I don't normally do that. Let's say that we have a written pattern, and or let's say I have a stitch. I have You know what? I can even make it easier. I wanted to draw this for you, but I have all of our charts from last week, so or from 2 weeks ago. Give me 1 second. Okay. You guys remember this picture? Or not? I don't know. So you remember or not when we spoke about reading charts and diagrams? I showed you this. We didn't really talk about this one. I just showed this to you as an example of charts that have the repetition marks. Now, because this one specifically has the repetition marked, then I can talk to you about it and try to explain it easier. So I'm going to make a separation between two subjects, figuring out what the multiple is and how much to chain for a beginning chain. Because how much to chain for a beginning chain, we will talk about it in a second. Right now, I want to make sure that everybody understands how to take a stitch that I have it written, or I have a picture of it, or I have it in my mind, and I want to figure out what's the multiple. Yeah? So that's what we're talking about right now. So for me, it's easy to look at this kind of pattern because we have already here marked what the repetition is, and we don't have to like look and try to figure out. Although this specific one will be quite easy to understand. So we have the repetition here is 3 double crochet, chain 2, skip 1, 2, 3, 4. And then puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, all into the same chain, skip 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and skip 3. Okay, that's the repeat here from this picture. First of all, why is the repeat not double crochet, 3 double crochet, chain 2, puff stitch, blah, 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 3 double crochet? Because if the repeat included those 3 double crochet, it's a repeat. So once one repeat ends, the next one begins. So if the repeat begins and ends with the 3 double crochets, then I will have 6 double crochets here. I hope that was clear. That means that the repeat only includes those 3 double crochets in the beginning here. Yeah, I'm intentionally not talking about this repeat because it has those chains in the beginning. So I want to be clear that I'm talking about double crochets. So this specific repeat is this, the 3 double crochet, chain 2, skip, how many are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, all into the same stitch, chain 1, skip 1, 2, 3. That's the stitch. That's the repeat. And we repeat it all the way through. And at the end of the row, we have 3 double crochet again. Now these 3 double crochet, they are not part of the repeat because our repeat ends with a chain 1, skip 3. So those 3 double crochets, that's the plus 3. So the repeat is a multiple of however many stitches that construction is plus 3. That is what the repetition is. That is the stitch count of my repetition. I hope that now that I explained it in 3 different ways, that it was clear for everyone. Now, how to figure it out? By counting. Yeah, so the way we can calculate it is by simply saying it, say it out loud. Say, my repetition is 3 double crochets, chain 2, skip, I don't know, 5. So I'm skipping 5 stitches. Wait, this is not a good example because we're talking about the beginning chain. But here, let's not talk about the first row. Let's talk about this row here. So in this row here, we chain 2 and we skip 3 chains. So we are actually adding those chains again here in between, but we're still gonna count them. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's a 10 stitch repetition plus the 3 double crochet in the end. I really don't want to confuse anyone, so I'm trying to make it clearer, but I don't know if I'm confusing you guys more or not. So give me some kind of like. Catherine says she finally understands what the plus X means. Okay, wonderful. So it was clear. All right. So the point is, we need to figure out how many stitches does our repeat take. How many stitches do we add on top of that for the edges? So in this case, those plus 3 double crochets. And that is our multiple. So this specific pattern that we see in front of us takes 10 stitches. Okay? It takes 10 stitches, and at the end of the row we add 3 more. So this is a multiple of 10 plus 3. Lori, so you figure the repeat count, multiply by the number of times you want to make that stitch pattern, and add 3 more for the last 3 double crochet that balance the look of the stitches. Exactly. Exactly, Lori. For that specific one that we are talking about. Yes. So for specifically this pattern that we are showing on the screen, the stitch count is 10 plus 3. So let's say I want to make a blanket, okay? It's the easiest example here. I want to make a blanket, and I want to make a blanket with 10 repeats of the pattern. So I will need 10 times 10 plus 3 more stitches at the end for those extra 3 double crochets. Now I hope that for those of you who read pattern, I hope the explanations with the little stars was clear. For those of you who read charts, I hope the chart part was clear. And if anyone still has problems with how we are now only talking about how to figure out what the multiple is. So if there's anyone in the chat that still doesn't understand how to figure out what the multiple is, then let me know and I'll try to find a different picture that might make it easier. But that is only how to figure out what the multiple is. Now, what we do with that multiple, I will show you with just a second, and how we calculate what our beginning chain is or whatever, we will slide into that. But like I said, I don't want to make this like a heavy lesson because a lot of you said you hate math. So I just want to make sure that you guys all understand how to figure it out. Now, the way you figure it out is really not that complex. Like I said, if the pattern is written and you have those stars, the number of stitches that are in between those stars, that's the multiple. So if it says 3 double crochet, so 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip 1, 3 double crochets, yeah? So 3 double crochets is 3, chain 1, skip 1 is 1 more, and 3 double crochets again. So I have 7 stitches, that's my multiple. And then on top of that, I add how many stitches are on the edges that are not part of the multiple, and that's my plus. Okay, so people are starting to say they understand. Catherine says it's clear. Somehow thought the plus had to do with the starting chain. Now I know how it actually works. It does also have to do with the starting chain, but in a second we will talk about that too. And Catherine has to go. Bye. Have a lovely dinner. Enjoy. Thanks for coming. I know that not all of our topics are relevant to you, but I still very much appreciate when you come, and have a wonderful evening or a great week. Hi, Shell Crochet. You hate math, and it was nice and clear to me. Good. I'm happy. Kim hates math but love crochet. Understanding crochet math will help me better crochet pattern creator. Yeah, that's the point. Okay, so if we're all clear about how to understand the what's the multiple of stitches we need, now the last thing we have to determine is the first stitch of the row a part of the repetition or not a part of the repetition, and how many chains do we need for that? Like I said, a lot of times in the beginning chain, you know, we chain, and that is only talking about patterns which are worked flat, because in patterns that are worked in around our beginning chain, if we make a hat for, or if we make a cowl, good that I have my cowl here. So if you make a cowl, our beginning chain is only down here. So we don't need any chains in the beginning chain to count as stitches, because we just close them into a circle to work into them. Same as with hats which are worked from the bottom. If they are worked from the bottom up, the beginning chains normally they don't matter for the stitch count. So, but if we make a flat object like an Afghan, or we make parts for a sweater and so on, then we have to figure out the first stitch of the row is normally, let's say it's a double crochet. Are we using 2 chains for that double crochet? Are we using 3 chains for that double crochet? How do we do that? So I'll tell you the personal way I do it when I design a pattern. So I have my multiple. My multiple is a multiple of 3 plus 2. Okay, but now the first stitch of those multiple of 3. So when I start working my first row, I want to start from those. Let's say my multiple of 3 is just 3 double crochets. Okay, just for the sake of it, I want my first stitch of the row to be a double crochet, and I use 3 chains for that to count as my first double crochet. Then those 3 stitches, they are like extra on my chain. I hope that was clear. I can draw this. Okay, wait, I'll take a white. So let's say my multiple is a multiple of, do you see this? Let's say my multiple is a multiple of 6 plus 2. So I have 8, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 beginning chains. Okay, so my multiple is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, this chain here, the chain number 8, is part of that multiple of 6 plus 2, yeah? So, like I said, my pattern is a repeat of 6 plus 2, so I chained 8. But that first one here, number 8, is part of that 8. So, this chain here is the first chain of the 3 chains up. So, it's kind of hard to draw this way. 1 second. So this will be my first stitch. So my beginning chain was 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 2, because that's my multiple, plus 2 more because my first double crochet of the row is this chain 3. I hope that makes sense. Now I don't chain, so if I use 3 double crochets as my 3 chains as my first double crochet, I don't chain 3 more. I chain 2 more because that first one out of the 3 is still part of the beginning chain. And then here will come my first stitch. So let's say my repetition is, I said 6, but let's say my repetition is like we had before, the 4 double crochets, chain 2, yeah? Okay, so my beginning chain was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my multiple, plus 2, 1, 2. Plus 2 because I used 3 chains for my first double crochet. But that bottom chain of the 3 is already part of the 6 plus 2. So I only add 2 more. And then my stitch repetition, which was 4 double crochets, chain 2. This is the first one out of them. And then 1, 2, 3, chain 2, skip 2, and the 2 double crochet in the end, which we said those are the plus 2 for my repetition. Was that clear to understand how many to chain for my beginning chain and how to calculate how many to add in order for the first stitch of the row to be a double crochet, or for the first chain to count as a double crochet? I hope that was clearer. Let me know. Hi Ursula, welcome, thank you for joining. Cheers to you. Perfectly Imperfect Crochet. Oh, I love your channel name. Do you have a channel? She says, yep, that makes perfect sense. And Catherine says, sense is made. Ursula says, very clear, very clear. Yes, okay, wonderful. So I hope that made sense to you guys in applying what we said about how to figure out what the multiple is and how to turn that into how many chains do I chain for my beginning chain. And now I have a little trick for you guys. So this little tool that I'm going to show you now, it's something that will come very handy for some of you. Probably most for those who need that count or what I just said in order to make blankets. Wait, there are questions. Catherine says, so that pattern was 6 plus 2. Yeah. So this pattern that I just that we just spoke about, it was this way. Where's my pen? So that pattern that we just spoke about, it was a multiple of 6 because it was a 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, and then it had the 2 double crochet in the end. So the pattern was a multiple of 6 plus 2. So I chained my 6 plus 2, which was this 8. And then I chained 2 more so that I can use the first 3 chains as a double crochet. But I didn't chain 3, I only chained 2 because the bottom of those 3 is part of the 6 plus 8. Lori says, so chain 8 for the repetition is the base of the first double crochet. So also counts as the first chain of the 3. Exactly, Lori. You're thinking about starting one. Okay. Hi, Rochelle. Welcome. Rochelle from the whip window. Welcome. Okay. So now, like I said, I have a little handy dandy tool for you. I always try to find this kind of stuff for you, and you guys seem to like them and be happy about them every time. So I found something very cool. Now, again, this is useful for not all patterns and not all shapes of crochet, but it is very, very useful for those of you who make blankets or afghans or different kinds of things that are made out of different rectangles. And let me take you with me. This is called the Online Stitch Multiple Calculator for Knitting and Crochet. That sounds genius, doesn't it? So what it does, pretty much, it asks you to make a little gauge swatch of the stitch pattern that you are planning to use, and then, you know, to gauge it either with 4-inch or 10 centimeters, whatever, you know, language they speak in your country, inches or centimeters. And so you, in order to do that or to use the calculator, you'll need your stitch gauge in stitches per inch or stitches per 4-inch or stitches per 10 centimeters. Then you'll need to know how wide you want your piece to be. Okay, so for those of you who are asking about making an afghan or whatever, you want to know how wide you want it to be. And then you need the stitch multiple, which I just explained how we figure it out. So if you have the stitch multiple stated as a multiple of x plus y, in this case the x is the multiple and the y is the plus how many stitches, yeah? So if we figured out the multiple, which I just taught you guys how to do, and we know how wide we want our project to be, and we have a small gauge swatch that we made in our stitch, then we can use this calculator. And what this calculator will tell us is pretty much how many chains to chain. And how it works, you just put in the data. So it asks you what is the width you measured across your swatch in inches or centimeters. It doesn't matter, you don't have to tell them if it's inches or centimeters. But let's say you measured in 4 inches, so you put it in here. If you measured in 10 centimeters, you just write 10 instead. Then it asks you how many stitches you counted in that width. So how many stitches you counted in those 4 inches, and you put it in here. And then you put in the multiples of the pattern. So it says the stitch pattern is a multiple of 6 plus 2. Okay, the multiple is 6 plus 2, what we just did. And here we say, what is the target width? Now we have to use here the same measure unit that we used in our swatch gauge. So if we put here in centimeters, then we need to put our width in centimeters here. And if we put up here in inches, then we need to put in inches here. It has to match. And once you put all the data in, this calculator will do the calculation for you. So it will say, to get that exact measurement that you wanted, those 21 inches, you will need 105 chains. But the repeat will be a repeat of 17 plus 1. Now, that's not a whole number. We can't repeat our multiple 17.1 times. That would not work. So what it does, it gives you the lower estimate. So what is the closest number of chains that if you chain that number will give you a whole repetition of the pattern, but the width will be a little smaller than what you told the calculator you want. So the lower estimate will be to chain 104, and then you will have 17 repetitions of your multiple. Or the upper estimate, so if you chain this number, your piece will be a little bigger than the width that you said that you want it to be, but you will have a whole 18 repetitions. So if you chain 110, you'll get 18 repetitions. If you chain 104, you'll get 17. If you chain 105, you'll get the width you want, but you won't be able to repeat your pattern a whole multiple of times. So what do you think? Is that not a handy dandy little tool. Wouldn't that make your life that much easier? Hi, Jean. Rochelle and Reggie all at once. This is the best. Aw, Jean. You watch both of us as soon as we post. Oh, thank you, Jean. Thank you. Lori says, ooh, the only thing worse than math is, in general, is gauge making. Yes, Lori, I agree. I hate gauging, but oh well, it's a handy tool. Good. Math is your jam. Well, Rochelle, when we started, most of the people in the chat said they hate math and they dread this lesson before it even began. Good, I'm very happy it helps. So the link to that handy dandy tool is in the description box below the video, and all you have to do is, you know, click on the link, bookmark it, and you'll have it. Laura says the project she wants to start is a chevron blanket. It is a double crochet with a multiple of 14. Will the shape affect the measurements of the gauge? Will the shape of the... Oh, you mean the shape of the chevron? Just make the gauge swatch a chevron. Make one repeat of the pattern, and you know, and gauge that. Because what that calculator does is you can put in, you don't have to put in 4 inches. You can also put in 10 inches, 20 inches. It doesn't matter as long as the measurements that you use in both places where it asks you for measurements are of the same kind. So you keep using inches or centimeters. So if you want to make a chevron, just make, I don't know, 10 rows of the chevron, measure how long it is, and put that into the calculator. This was very clear. I'm happy. Your brain slightly hurts. I'm sorry, Jamie. Okay, so I wanna since we're already talking about the multiple and so on, and I need to give you guys a little bit of rest between the different subjects, then I'm going to talk to you guys about, we were talking about multiple. Now, you guys had a lot of questions in the beginning about designing something yourself. Now we know how to get the multiple. We know how to figure out what the multiple is. But let's say the project that I want to make, it's not a straight blanket. So I want to show you guys something. This is, you guys see that? Wait, let me stand up. So this is the beta version of my Rivendell shawl. So my Rivendell shawl is a pattern that I designed, and it's on my Etsy store. It's also on my channel as a tutorial, and this is the first beta version of it, where I just tried out the multiple of the stitches. And once I had that figured out, I was able to design the pattern. This is what you see here is the finished Rivendell shawl, and it has that pattern running through it. So, and it still has those little dragon teeth in the end. But in order to figure out the multiple, I had to work one swatch without the pattern. So for those of you designing, or for those of you who wanted to or who asked question about, I want to design something, I have the stitch repetition that I want, or I have the the pattern that I want, but I don't know how to work it into that finished project. Yeah. So for that, I made one without first, so that I can figure out the multiples. Now, let me get the edge. Okay, so you guys can see that. So let's look at it this way because it's easier. So this is a repetition of 8. So what we just spoke about, the multiple, yeah? So this is a multiple of 8. We have double crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then chain 2, skip 2. That's the repeat. So it's a multiple of 8. But the other edge is not straight. So I had to figure out once in how many rows can I start a new repetition. So how many rows does it take before I have 6 stitches here or 8 stitches here so that I can chain? Because I can't start a row with a chain. Lori says she loves calculators. Ursula, you've been subscribed to that website you just put up. Great stuff. Thank you so much. You subscribed to that web. Okay, welcome. Catherine says she hates gauging too. Yeah, I'd read that. But like for chevron, it's handy. Yes, it is. Exactly. Hi, Jeanette. Thank you for joining. Welcome. Oh, you guys all love the shawls. Thank you. I think I showed them a few times already. Catherine says, as she was making the Rivendell, she was completely in awe of you for figuring out the math. And Kim asks, what weight yarn did I use for the shawl? It's a 3 weight. It's I used a what was it? Stylecraft? No. I don't remember. But it was a lightweight 3. And as I've said, so I had to make the first one without the pattern on it so that I will figure out once in how many rows can I begin a new repetition of the pattern. So I had the multiple. The multiple was a multiple of 8. And since it's not a square or a rectangle, I didn't have that plus. So because I don't work straight edges, so I don't need that +1, +2. But I am increasing on one side all the time to make the rows longer. So I had to figure out how many rows does it take before I have 8 again, because the multiple is a multiple of 8. So for those of you who are asking in terms of design, if you have your stitch that you want to use and you have more or less the idea in your head of what it is that you want to design, it does help to work a swatch in the beginning without your pattern in it, just with the multiple of stitches to figure out once in how many rows do I begin a new one. A few days ago, someone wrote me an email and told me, I'm trying to work this specific pattern into a shawl, but I can't figure out how to increase or decrease. And that's also a question that a lot of you guys asked in the beginning. 1 second. Because before you guys ask, this yarn, this yarn, I do know what it is. This is Hobby Fandango, and I think it's no longer available. It was a limited edition yarn on Hobby. I still have 3 of it here. Those big balls that you see here in the window. Those are all Hobby Fandango. and it's a wonderful yarn. I love it a lot, but I don't think they sell it anymore, and if they do, they probably only have 1 or 2 colors of it left because it was a limited edition. And this one was, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Stylecraft. Or something from the UK, because it was sent to me by Sabrina from Sabrina Melodios. So I hope that helped. Now, so people were asking, or whoever emailed me asked, I have this and I want to figure out how to increase or decrease it in order to make it a triangle shawl. And how do I figure out the decreases or the increases? Now, for that, we have to touch a different type of math. Because, like I said, we talk geometry, right? We are making either a rectangle or a triangle or a circle or, different kinds of geometrical shapes. And there's a law to that. There's a mathematical law to that. So for those of you who make shawls, you guys probably have noticed it. If you make a regular triangle shawl, most of them will have the same increases in the beginning and in the middle point, right? So we have to increase on the sides, in the beginning and end of the row, and at the point in order to maintain that point shape. And you have to increase the same in every single round. So you cannot begin one round with 3 double crochets in the first stitch and then the next round with only 2 double crochets, because your shawl won't be even, or the top of your shawl won't be even, or your shawl will have a point and it won't actually be straight. So how do I figure out those increases? Well, I have the multiple of my stitch. By stitch, as I said, we're not using the +2 right now because we're not talking blanket or flat rectangle. So I have the multiple of my stitch. The multiple of my stitch is a multiple of 6. Yeah, let's go back to our multiple of 6 plus 2. Sorry, like this. So my stitch, or my repetition, is a repetition of 6. I have to figure out once in how many rows do I have 6 more stitches added, or a multiple of 6 added, because I'm in a triangle shawl, I add in the beginning and in the middle. So in the beginning, in the middle, and the end of the row, right? Because I work the triangle. So once in how many rows do I have enough to work a full repetition or more than one repetition of my stitch count? So I hope that for the designers of you in the chat, this was helpful. Lori loves the word fandango. I love it too. Hello, Veronica. Welcome. Hello, Patrice. Thank you for joining. Will you do the fandango? Yes, exactly. Do you... Just, side note, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but Hobie came out with a brand new yarn this week, and you know what it's called? Moonwalk. And you know what the logo on it is? It's little like Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk. I loved it. Catherine says, every 2 rows you have increased 6. Is that right? Yeah, so are you talking about this shawl? Catherine, specific questions. More specific questions. Or are you talking about what I said with this? So if my multiple is a multiple of 6, I need to figure out how many rows does it take me to get the next multiple of 6. So let's say I'm making a triangle shawl and I'm adding at the beginning, I start my row with 3 double crochet in the first stitch, and at the point I do 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and at the end of the row, I once again, because it's symmetrical, I end with 3 double crochet in the last stitch. So I added in this row 3 in the beginning and 3 in the end, that's 6, and 4 in the middle. So I actually added 10 stitches. 10 does not divide by 6. So I need to figure out how many rows does it take me to get to the next multiple of 6 so I can work the stitch repetition. Oh, I'm sorry you can't stay. Have a virtual baby shower to attend. Oh, that's interesting. Your first virtual baby shower. I wonder what that would be. Mare, let us know afterwards how it went and what exactly does it entail. But thank you for being here, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up. So while I wait for your questions, your confirmations that this was clear, anything that you have to ask or say before we move on to, you wanted to know sizing and increasing and decreasing, so we will talk about that next. And don't worry, I did not forget you guys' question about how to switch yarn weight. But quickly before that, because we have a lot of people who joined us now and weren't here in the beginning, I want to remind you all, if you haven't yet gone to last week's live to comment and enter into the giveaway, don't forget to do that. The prize for last week's live is a surprise bundle of crochet gadgets and accessories. Don't forget to come back to today's live when it's done and comment on that. The question for today's live is, what from everything we talked about was the most useful for you, and did you get the answers that you need during that live stream? And the prize for today's is this wonderful crochet garden booklet and the Yarny car stickers with balls of yarns, crochet hooks, and of course wine glass, because it is the Yarniversity after all. And I want to remind you guys that next week we have our live chat, our live game show with a lot of prizes that we will be giving away. And if you guys want to contribute, if you are a maker and you want to contribute a prize, then please shoot me an email. So we can get that figured out. And the last thing I wanted to remind you guys is that on the 14th of February, there is no Yarniversity. We're going to skip that 1 week. And what was one more thing? Oh yeah, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and cheers. Hi, Christy! Christy, you missed the beginning. In the beginning, I gave a big shout out to all the new channel members, and I mentioned you. So cheers to you, Christy. She's joining us now. All the other members, please cheers to Christy. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, my channel now has a membership program that you can choose. There are 4 different levels. If you're interested in learning more about that, there is a join button next to the subscribe button. And if you cannot see the join button, then in the description box below the video, there is a link to join the membership program and get special perks on the channel. There are some really cool perks. Some of them are those cool emojis that I designed and I'm very proud of. Shell Crochet says, so if you want to take any flat stitch pattern and work a triangle shawl, you'd need to start with something to get you to that multiple before actually starting the stitch pattern. So yes and no. Technically, yes. But if you want, of course, or if you are able to, you can always start the pattern right from the beginning in parts. It is harder. I don't think it works nice the same way. If you are able to figure it out, that might be a solution for you, but there are some patterns are like more complex and it wouldn't work. So personally, I think yes. You always need those few setup rows that to get you to the point where you can start the actual pattern. Unless your shawl somehow already begins with 6 stitches. That's also possible. specifically my Rivendell shawl begins with a point, and there are 4 stitches in the beginning. What you could do is start with 6, and then on the next row, because you are increasing, you already have 8, and you will already be able to start the repeat. I did it differently because I wanted a more pointy point. Then you also need to figure the increases, which you're getting to. Yes, I am. Catherine says that's what she was missing. 10 increases per row, 3 rows. It's 30, which is the first one dividable by 6. Yes, exactly. Hello to Brooklyn. Welcome. All right. So, how to figure out increases and decreases. Now, okay, that is a very big and broad question. So, those of you who asked in the beginning about decreases and increases, maybe you can tell us exactly what you mean, or exactly specifically where do you have problems. And while you do that, I'm going to talk about my how I look at it, and then I will pop into the chat and see what you guys asked specifically. So, how to figure out increases and decreases? Yeah, the question is what kind of shape you want to have, because I have an easy way to talk about that. Give me 1 second. Oh, it's a little too big. Okay. We all know this. This is a classic granny square. A classic granny square, well, it's a square. So, of course, it has 4 sides, and in order to begin anything that is worked from the middle as a square. That's for those of you who asked about blankets, designing, and so on. If you begin any blanket or pattern that is worked square from the middle, needs to have, or the sides of it need to be worked. Obviously, it needs to be divided into 4 sides, right? So the classic granny square has the 3 double crochet groupings, yeah, let's call it this way, those group of 3 double crochets, and the first row has 4 of them. The next row has 8 of them, and the next row has 12 of them. So, you know, this is math 101. This is a series that grows with 4 every time, right? So every row will have 4 more than the previous row. So here we have 4 of those groups, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the next row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so forth. We can even, count together. The next row will have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 on each side. 4 times 4 is 16. So we are increasing. Every row will have 4 more. So any pattern of square worked from the middle need to work to that effect. Now, it doesn't have to be a granny. Yeah, you can do a solid granny. Then you will have, you will have 5 of these, or depending on how you do your, I don't know how you guys do your solid granny. But you will have here 5 stitches, so 1 in each of those 3, and then 1 in the corner and 1 in the corner and the chain, and again 5, but then the increase will be the same. So it has to grow on the same multiple in order for the square to remain a square, right? Otherwise it will start flipping. If we have too many stitches in the corners, it wouldn't lay flat. You guys probably know that, or maybe you've seen it on my channel, that pattern of a sweater that's made out of 2 hexagons, that you make them flappy on purpose so that you can fold them in 2 and make them into the sweater shape. So that pattern is based off of the fact that you increase too much on purpose. So if you increase too much, you won't get the right shape. It will be flappy, it won't lay flat. Or if you make a top-down sweater and you increase too much here, then you'll have these like wavy kind of look to it. So how to figure out the multiple depends on what kind of shape are you aiming to have, okay? Or how to figure out the increases or the decreases. There is no real right and wrong for it, because a lot of it depends on gauge, depends on what kind of pattern you have, what exactly are you working, what yarn, what hook. But there is one truth that is true to all of them. If you make a square and you increase in the corners. If you increase somewhere else on the square, it wouldn't remain a square. If you if you want to make a triangle, if you make it from the point up, you increase on both sides. If you increase on both sides evenly, you will get an even triangle. If you increase only on one side and on the other side you will get this kind of triangle. It has one side straight and the other one is increasing. If you want that increase on the side to have a curve like mine, if you want that increase on the side to have a curve, to not be straight, then you need more increases in order to make it rounder. So the more increases you'll do on the side, the rounder it will get. So if you make a triangle and you start with 3 stitches and then for the next row you add 1 in each side, it will keep that shape. But if you add 3 on that side, it will lay more round. If you add 6 on that side, it will have more of a curve. So when you increase a triangle, if you want to make something that looks like this, then you just increase more than just 1 stitch in every side. Increase 4 in every side, and you'll get this like wing kind of shape. So the increases and the decreases pretty much define what shape we are getting, and vice versa. So the shape that we want to get is what will determine how many increases and decreases we do on each side. Now, for those of you who asked the questions about decreases and increases, I want to know if that helped, or if your question regarding decreases and increase was different than that. But since we were talking about, I was giving before the example of a triangle shawl, and I said that you always increase in the beginning if you work it from the middle, not the one that goes from the top down, from the not from the point up, from the top down. Then if you work it from the top down, then you always increase on the beginning and the end and in the middle. And that increase has to be the same on all the rows. Otherwise, your triangle will get a weird shape. So if on one row you begin with 3 double crochets and the next row you only put 2 double crochets, then you have to even it out in the middle, or your rows won't be even, and then your triangle won't keep its shape. So increases have to be, if we are talking geometrical shape, they have to have some kind of rule to them in order to make the geographical shape you want. Semicircle increases for a shawl in that shape. So Ursula, I don't understand what you meant. Ursula says it does help. I want to make a shawl in a semicircle. Oh, now I get it. Okay, you want to make a shawl in a semicircle, so you were wondering how to keep the semicircle shape. Okay, so semicircle is, I think, maybe the trickiest shape of them all. However, it works on the same concept as a triangle shawl. So a triangle shawl that's worked from the bottom down is pretty much just half of a square blanket for worked from the middle, right? So it's the same with the half circle. So the half circle will have to have the same multiples that you will have in order to make a regular circle. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a circle. Kim says that shape information is super, super critical help. Good. I'm happy that it helps. In general, the important thing to remember is that if you are designing a piece of your own and you are making a certain shape, you have to start with figuring out your stitch multiple, what we did in the beginning of the live. And after you figure out how many you chain to begin and how you begin your work and all that, you need to figure out how to maintain the shape that you want. So if you are working a rectangle of any sort, the increases will be even. Always the same increases in the corners of the rectangle. You cannot increase somewhere else when you're working a rectangle. It has to be in the corners. When you're working a circle, okay, the rules for a circle is very, very it's one-sided. You know, there's only one way to make a perfect circle. We'll talk about it in a second. But if you're making a circle, you have to keep count on what round you're at in order to continue to gradually keep your increases right. But other than circle and half circle that are maybe like the most complicated ones, the triangles and the rectangles, the increases have to be even all throughout your work or it wouldn't have the right shape. Rochelle says, if you're doing a double crochet based semicircle, you will need to increase 6 stitches on each round to keep it a flat semicircle. Exactly. But I will talk about it in a second. I mean, I wanted to talk about circles in general, so we will talk about it in just a sec. But the increases, there's a rule to the increase. So you have to figure the rule for the shape you want in the stitch you want and keep it throughout. Otherwise, it won't be even. Okay, Wilma, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming. All right. So was that information helpful? Was still anything to do with increases or decreases that I did not answer or that you still want to ask about before we move on to the next subject? So I still have written down from the things that you said in the beginning, figuring out to changing between different kinds of yarns. So if a certain pattern to make in a different weight, and and sizing. Sorry, I wrote down sizes XL, but then so because I was, I guess, copying someone's comment, but the overall subject was sizing. I'm very happy that it's helpful for you. Okay, so the next thing I want to help you do is size. The Sislav half circle shawl must have had more increases than in the middle and at the ends. Yes, it did. It did indeed. The Sislav half circle had many increases. You just don't really notice them because of the sort of the Sislav half circle is made out of a lot of different stitches. So I actually have it here. I have one that I have started. My finished one is not here. But this is another beginning of a Sislav half circle. And because of the different stitches that they use, you don't realize that you're increasing along the way. Because here, for example, they tell you to chain a certain amount of chains and then skip a few. And then in the next row, you work like 10 double crochets into each of those chains. So you don't realize that you increase because you don't work 2 stitches into 1 stitch. You work a pattern, and the pattern itself has the increases in it already. So yes, it does increase according to the rule of the circle. You just don't notice it because the stitches change all the time. You should finish it, Kim. It's beautiful. I mean, I don't know what, I think my finished one, did I already give it to someone? I'm not sure. Hi, Lashira. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, so, oh, Rochelle. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing you guys asked about is, wait, what do you guys want to do first? You first want to do figuring yarn for the project and then changing between yarn weights, or do you first want to do sizing? Tell me in the comments what's let's have a vote. What do you guys want to do first? Or you know what? Hi, Digo. Okay. Catherine says tomorrow the new Sis homemade call starts. Yes, it does. It starts tomorrow. I already have my yarn picked out and everything. And yes, for those of you who want to practice diagrams and such, they have the best ones. Sizing, yarn. Okay, we have 2 for yarn, 1 for sizing. Drink sounds good. You want to drink one too? Cheers, everyone. All right, you know what? Let's do yarn. So, so I don't know if you guys, yarn weight. Okay, so I don't know if you guys, if any of you guys have ever made any of my patterns. But my patterns are all, except for the one that I'm currently in testing of, which is the socks. But other than that one, which is just made for sock yarn, all of my patterns, other than that one, are designed in a way that you can use whatever yarn you want. You decide whatever yarn you want and whatever hook size you want, and you work from there. Now, not all designers work that way. I personally find that it is more user-friendly or more, I don't know, pattern reader, creator friendly if you design your patterns in a way which allows the person makes them to determine whatever yarn he wants to use. So what I do in my patterns is I pretty much explain how to get the size that you need using whatever yarn that you are using. So I have here, this is my Artemis cowl. This pattern is already on the Etsy shop. Maybe you've seen it in some other channels. I had some wonderful other YouTubers testing this pattern for me. And I made mine in a fingering weight yarn. However, my testers made it in all different kinds of yarn weights. So I had anywhere from bulky to sport weight in between my testers, and they did a wonderful job, and they all got this beautiful fabric that this stitch pattern gives. So patterns that work that way are easier to work. So for you, if there are designers out there in the chat, figuring out how to design your pattern in a way that the person who makes it can use whatever yarn they have on handy and they will still get the same result. In my personal opinion, that would be the smart way to go. There are people who design per yarn weight, and that's okay. And there are people who will tell you you have to use this kind of yarn, and otherwise the sizing that I figured out won't work, and that is okay too. But I do all my patterns, including sweaters, including hats, including cowls, including shawls. Like I said, all of them other than the socks that are currently in testing are made this way. And why do I do this? Because we people are all different. We have different sizes, different build. Not everyone who wears a size medium has the same bust. Not everyone who wears a size I don't know, US pant size. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna skip that. But like, not everyone who wears a certain. When I get a crochet pattern for a hat and it says teen, adult, small, adult, large, I don't know, is my head adult small? Is my head adult large? I make the adult large, it's too big for me. I make the adult small, it's too small for me. I think it's easier if you tell your user how to adjust it to them. There is no small and large in heads. All of our heads are different. Have you ever looked at 10, 20 people together in a room? Can you find two of them who wear the exact same size clothes and they fit them also exactly the same? So if there are designers out there in the chat, figuring out how to do your pattern so that the user can size it is the smart way to go. Now, for those of you who are users and want to learn how to take a pattern and change to a different yarn. Well, you remember how in the beginning we spoke about figuring out the multiple of the pattern? That is exactly how you do it. So I have a sweater. Let me grab Imogen. This is Imogen, for those of you who haven't met her yet. And Imogen is currently wearing a vest sweater that I did as a test pattern for another designer. And specifically this sweater, when I got the pattern, she asked me to do the size large. And I think we were like 10 or 12 different testers, and each of us got, or every few of us got a different size to work. And she asked me to do the size large, but this is a pattern that's worked from the bottom down, and it was designed for a bulky weight yarn. And it said for a size large, work this and that amount of row for the yoke. So there was like a stitch or a row repetition of how to do the yoke. And it said repeat this repetition for so and so rows for a size large. And then I said, you know what? I told it to the designer. Not everyone who wears a size large has the same, you know, boobies, right? So what if that's too small? What if I work it and it still doesn't get to the top of my arm pits, or where the armhole should be? Yeah, it's very easy. So let's say I want to make this pattern that is designed to be in a bulky weight with so and so hook, and it says the repetition for the yoke is these rows and work it this and that amount of time. Well, all you have to do is take the yarn that you want to use and the hook that you want to use, look at the pattern, figure out the multiple like we learned in the beginning, and just work as many rows as you need in order for the yoke to be big enough so that it's time to make the armholes. So I hope that was, I'm currently only explaining about this specific pattern, but it's right for all patterns. So any pattern that you have that says, even a sweater that's worked from the bottom down, so it tells you to work that and that amount of rows until you get to your waist. Well, then just continue working rows. You know, take a smaller yarn, a smaller hook, figure out the beginning chain the way we learned in the beginning. You can even size it to your own size. You don't have to follow. All you have to do is figure out what the multiple is. So if the stitch that I have is a multiple of 4, I look at the pattern the way we learned in the beginning of the live, and I figure out what the multiple is, and I figure out that the multiple is a multiple of 4. I chain a beginning chain that is a multiple of 4 that is big enough to go around my waist or around wherever I want the sweater to begin if I work from the bottom. And I work up from there. Now let's say I work a top-down sweater and it says to chain so and so for the neckline. All I gotta do is figure out the multiple and chain a chain in the multiple that I need that is big enough to go around my head so I can put it over my head and work the pattern from there. And then I can do that pattern in whatever yarn I want. It's all in figuring out the stitch count. All right. Let's see what you guys said. Chrissy says she made my Rivendell shawl in sport weight. Wow. I've never seen that. Can you maybe post a picture of that on the Facebook group so I'll see it? Catherine says she loves it when you can custom size a pattern. Rachel says my 90s head was way bigger than my 2020s head. It's a good one, Rachel. Bottom down sounds like pants, so I'm sorry. Catherine says it's much easier with crochet than knitting. Just keep on chaining. Exactly. That's the advantage of working top down. You can test if it fits. Exactly. Somehow I knew you would say something about that. I have no idea. Oh, Ursula, okay. All right, so now let's say we are talking about a hat. So again, I'm sorry, but all I have handy is like things that I made lately, and lately because all I do is write patterns, they are all my patterns. But this is my bedrock beanie. Once again, maybe you've seen some other YouTubers who tested it for me, or this is also available on the Etsy store. And once again, this is a beanie that is designed in a way that you can size it to whatever size you want. What you do is you work the brim, and I explain to you how to decide how big you want your brim to be. So I made mine the way I like mine to be, and I'm sorry in advance, I am not a beanie person, but I wanted mine to be that wide, so I made it that wide. But if you want yours to be wider, I explain in the pattern how to do that. And then you work out the hat. Now the hat is made in a multiple of 4, and I say that in the pattern because, well, that's the way I design. And in my designs, in my patterns, the pattern will always say what the stitch count is, because I like to save people who want different sizes the need to figure out the count themselves. So in this case, the pattern says begin or do or work the brim in a multiple of 4, and then the rest of the pattern goes from there. But if you are working a hat or a beanie that has that has custom sizes or whatever, but you tried one and it's too small for you or too big for you or whatever, or maybe you're making it for someone that you're not exactly sure, then just, measure their head, or measure your head, or measure how, and use the calculator that I showed you guys. You will know how many you need to chain for the beginning to get that circumference of the head that you need. That's, just figuring out the multiple, which is what we did in the beginning of the live. Once you figure out the multiple of the pattern, you can adjust it pretty much to whatever yarn weight you want. You just have to figure out what the multiple is. And if it's something more complicated than a top-down sweater or a hat or a cowl is like the easiest thing in the world because it's just a circle. And if you know the stitch count, then you can make it wider, or you can make it more snug around your neck, or you can make it half of this size and very, very long, and then it's an infinity scarf or whatever. So a cowl is very easy, but if it's something more complicated than a hat or a top-down sweater, all you gotta do is read through the pattern and understand the math of it. So you figured out what the multiple is, like we did in the beginning, and you realize what is now, let's say we are making a vest and we are now making the back of the vest. So most of the vests, the way that they are made is like the back is just simply a rectangle that fits, in between your shoulders. So just chain the beginning chain to be the length that goes in between your shoulder, and make sure that it's the multiple that you need in order to get the stitch count right for the pattern. And then you can make it in whatever yarn you want. You can make it in fingering, you can make it in bulky, you can make it in medium. So I hope that helped. Thank you, Dio. Chrissy says he's watching with a boyfriend and he wants me to make him that hat. Okay, well, it is on the Etsy shop, and you guys have your discount code in the description box below, and yeah, make him the hat. The Bedrock Beanie, it's called. Digo, you have to go now. Okay, thank you for being here. I appreciate you stopping by. All right. I'm sorry I probably won't make Granny D's live, and I will probably not make yours because it's dinner time here, and normally once I get off here, the first thing I do is I go eat, and then I normally fall asleep. You guys all know that. I'm a full-time mom. I'm awake since 5 a.m. this morning. It's 8 p.m. here now, and normally once I get off my live, all I still have energy for is eating something. Lori says she had to step out to ask her sister about mom. Oh, how is mom? You ordered a pattern, waiting to see the February colored calendar from Seda. Oh, cool. Awesome. When you clicked the stitch calculator to bookmark it, they offered to email me something about measuring for wearables. Cool. I haven't, I did not get that, but yeah, but if you do, let us know if it was useful. Go to that link and get 2 resources. Yeah, wow, weird. Why didn't it offer me that when I bookmarked it? I'm gonna contact them. Hello, Yoli Curls. I'm basically new to your channel and loving this chat lesson. Thanks, you're welcome, and welcome to the channel. And any other viewers, if you are here and you're watching, welcome. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and if you are not yet subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. You don't have to, but I would really much appreciate it if you do. For much more content that I have on my channel, I do regular unboxings, I do yarn reviews, product reviews, I do tutorials, and there are actually 2 tutorials coming up this month in February, or 2 that are already done, and we'll see if I get any more done. I didn't do tutorials in a while because, you know, of lockdown and I have no time to film, but I did manage to finish 2. Yeah, Yoli, I hope you didn't land on kind of a hard topic for the beginning, but we do a lot of fun things here at the Yarniversity. You know, today is a little bit of a heavy subject, but Catherine did give me a good advice this week, and she said I should mix the hard subject in between the lighter subject, so every once in a while we'll have one of those heavier subjects that are more like wordy than the others and are a little bit harder on the brain, and then we'll have a few weeks of fun. So next week we have our live game show, so join us for that. I hope all of you will be here for that. Last time was a lot of fun, and this time, oh my god, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but there are such amazing makers who donated prizes to next week's live game show, and I wish I could have won some of them. Lori says she's special, maybe because you only use Lori, I love you. Oh, we have a new member. Welcome, Christy. Cheers. Thank you for joining, Christy. Welcome. Cheers, all the members. Cheers to you. Cheers to Christy. All right. I'm happy that that helped. Julie says she appreciates the topic. She has to make so many adjustments on wearables because I'm short. Ah, okay. Shell Crochet says it's been great. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me for so long. Hello, Deborah. New crocheter here. Been lurking while painting my nails. I get the math, but still have to learn more crochet. Well, you're in the right place. Bye, Jamie. Thank you for joining. All right, so let me know, was the changing yarn weights and sort of talking about sizing, informative, answered you guys' questions. If you have more on that subject, let me know. I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about calculating yarn per project. So I will talk about that right after we'll figure out if we're done with the subject of converting yarn weights for projects and sizing the project to fit you and not to the size it's in the pattern. Away from keyboard for a few minutes, but we'll be listening. Okay. All right. So while I wait for you guys to let me know if we're done with that subject and we can move on, I am going to, I wanted to, where is it? I had it here. I lost a sweater. I'm not sure how that can happen. But it appears I have misplaced it. I was sure I put it here next to me so that I can show it to you once we talk about converting yarn weights in sizes, but it's not here now. So maybe I moved it right before, or maybe I put something else on top of it when I was playing with things around here. So I'm very sorry. But I wanted to talk to you guys about fitting or calculating how much yarn you use at a certain project, or how much yarn you will need, or how much yarn you already used, or in general, how much yarn exactly do you have. So we'll talk about that in just a second after you guys just give me the go that this was what you needed or answered your questions. Okay, Catherine says it's clear to her. Laura, you steer the poo with a canoe paddle, as my grandma used to say. James says she was leaving because she thought class was over for the week. No, no, definitely not. I mean, I still have things to talk about, but you don't have to listen if you're done. All right. Okay, Tamara, it's good that you can multitask. I cannot do two things at once. Yeah, Catherine and Lori, don't make me put you in the corner again. All right. So, let's talk yarn. Lori, you're good to move on. Okay. You have to watch a replay though, because I'm always ending up with hats that are too big or too small and need to figure out how to adjust. 1 second about that, because I have 2 hat patterns on my Etsy store, and there's a hat tutorial, 1 hat tutorial on my channel, and there's 1 more hat tutorial coming up. If anyone saw, I'm between friends here, so I feel comfortable saying that, but I am so proud of myself today. I put the picture up on Instagram. If you guys follow me on Instagram, or if any of you are friends with me on Facebook, you may have seen the picture of the hat that I finished designing today. I am so proud of myself for that hat. I had an idea for it. I had no way of knowing if it would come out. It did. I love it. And that will be as a tutorial on the channel sometime during February. But there's already 1 hat tutorial on the channel, and there are 2 hat patterns on the Etsy store. And all of my patterns, like I said, are designed in a way that you can fit them to your own head. But since Lori did mention hats, there's not a big difference, but a slight difference between hats that are worked from the top down and hats that are worked from the bottom up. So hats that are worked from the top down are easier to adjust, because all you have to do, if you have a bigger or smaller size, it all depends on how many rows of increase you're doing before you stop increasing and start working down. So a beanie is pretty much a tube, right? We were talking geometrical shapes. So it starts, when it starts on the top, this one is worked from the bottom up, so it's not a good example, but a beanie that's worked from the top down, it starts pretty much with a circle, and you increase the circle until you get the size of the back of your head that you need, the crown of your head, and then you just work around, and it creates this kind of like a tube that sits on your head, and then you make the brim. So that's top-down hats are the easiest to figure out, because all you have to do to make them bigger or smaller is work less or more increases. How to increase or decrease a circle in just a second after we talk about calculating yarn. So circle will be the last subject we talk about. But how to calculate the yarn. So I had a yarn ball here. With your permission, I'm going to use this t-shirt yarn that I have, but it's not, but it's what I'm going to say, it's right for any yarn. Denise, you're new to wearable. Wonderful. I hope that this helps you size your things. And like I said, if there are any designers watching, listening, I know it's very easy to try to make sizes, because a lot of people are like, they need that. They can't do the calculation on their own, or they are too scared of doing the calculation of their own. But you will do your users or the buyers of your or the readers of your patterns a huge favor if you explain to them how to size whatever it is that you're teaching them to make to fit their body or the body of the person they're making it, and not some general size. Because I promise you, you take 10 people who wear a size medium, you put them one next to the other, they won't have all the same body. That's just the way people are. It's just the way we're built. Oh, Catherine, you've seen the pink hat? Thank you. I love it too. I'm in awe of myself. I feel okay to say it here, because you know, we're all friends here. I wouldn't brag like this in other places. And Lori says she's going to try your new hat for the February hat, not hate. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so yarn. I have yarn. We all have yarn, a lot of it. Now, there is the easy, how do you say, the easy equation, and I know I said there won't be any equations, and I promise you this is like not a curse word. The easy equation says that your yarn band will have information on it, right? So it will say that this is 50 grams and so and so, or this specific one doesn't say, so it's not a good example, but so and so yards or meters long. And one second, let me get a ball band that does say that, so we can do the math together. So I have a yarn cake. So my ball band says that it is 150 grams. This is actually a very easy ball band to calculate, because it says it's 150 grams and 150 meters. So the rule says if you take the if you take the weight of the cake and divide it by how many meters are in your cake, then you can figure out how much does each meter weight, and vice versa, right? So I have a cake and it says it's 150 grams, 150 meters. So that's pretty much says that every meter of this yarn cake weighs 1 gram. Or every gram that I use of this yarn cake is a meter. So in this way, by using just the numbers on your ball band, you can calculate how much yarn you used to make a sweater. Let's say I used I had 4 balls or 5 balls of 100 grams to make this sweater, so I used 500 grams, but I want to know how many meters I used. So because not all 5 bulky yarns have the same length, right? We know that. We look at 2 yarns, they both say 5, they even look like they are more or less the same weight, but this one has 150 meters and this one has 120 meters. How can that be? Well, the yarn itself is lighter or heavier. That makes sense, but I want to know how much yardage. So it's an easy division, you know? You have the numbers on the ball band, figure out how many grams per meter or how many meters per gram, whatever is more relevant to what you work, and that way you can know how much yarn you used in order to make it. Let's say you didn't use all 5 balls, I used 4.5. I take the yarn that I have left and I put it on a kitchen scale and I see how much I have left. And then I say, oh, this cake had 150 grams in it. Now after I use it to make this, I weighted it and there are 50 grams left. And since I know that every gram is a meter, then I know that I used 100 meters of yarn to make that X. I hope that helped. If you can brag to your friends, who can you brag to? We love you. Thank you, Rochelle. But that is true. Yeah. Like I said, I only allow myself to do that when I know that, you know, I'm in between friends. So, yes, but you already know that I'm going to need to rewatch so much information and you love it. I'm happy, Liz. I have to apologize to you all because I started my blog in the beginning of January and the plan was to continuously write up all the information from the lives into the blog. And I have all that information written down, but I don't have the time to write it into the blog. And I promise you all that as soon as things come down here, this information will all be written down and available to all of you. If any of you want a specific class in writing and cannot wait for the blog to be up, then I will email it to you. Like I said, I have them all already in writing. It's all a matter of sitting down and doing the conversion, and I'm not a very computery person, so it takes me a while, but I really, really hope that it will be up soon. It's just we are in so much pressure with all the lockdown here and everything. However, lockdown is supposed to end on 14th of February. Fingers crossed that they don't prolong it again. But if everything goes according to plans, the numbers are going down here in Germany, and if everything goes according to plan, 14th of February will be out of lockdown and I will have way more time on my hands to do things normally. Catherine says she can't buy button-up shirts, too much volume in the boobage area. Yeah, I mean, I personally don't get it, but I get it. Brag away. Thank you, guys. Ursula says she found that free weight balls can differ from up to 33 meters per ball. Yes, Ursula, I have explained this in my live that we did about how to shop for yarn online. I gave you guys that little cheat sheet that tells you how many meters or yards per ball to calculate the weight of the yarn, and in that cheat sheet you could really see that in the same yarn weight there could be sometimes a difference of 100 meters. It's like working out calories per meal. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I use a kitchen scale. By Lashira, thank you for being here. Debbie says that would be so wonderful, great information, but I can't always process anything. Yes, like I said, I already have it all written down. I normally already have it written down before the live stream even begins because I do all the research and everything during the week, and I don't have a lot of free time during the day, especially now during lockdown with the 2 little kids at home, but I get as much time as I can put into preparing the lives, and so I have everything written down, but I don't have the time to convert it into the blog, but I will soon, and then you'll have everything. All right. Thank you all for being so understanding. I appreciate it. All right, so last topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about is circles, because circles is something that a lot of people tend to have problems with. We all know how hard it is to get the circle to lay flat, or to have the circle be a perfect circle and not kind of have corners in it in the places where you do the increase, or there are all kinds of things that have to do with circles. And then we spoke about half circles. So in order to know how to make a perfect half circle, you have to know how to make a perfect circle, and then cut the pattern in half. Sorry, so I have prepared another little cheat sheet for you guys, but I don't have it in picture form, so I cannot have it like I always have my stuff on the screen and talk to you about it while I explain. So what I'm going to do is, right when today's live is over, I'm going to sit on my editing program and try to convert it into picture form, so that you guys will be able to see it, and then I will first obviously post it on the Facebook group for all of you guys, and I will try to get it up on the blog as soon as all the information goes up there, so it will be there as well. But the information is pretty much about circles and how to work the circles correctly. So first of all, it depends on the beginning of the circle. If you begin your circle with single crochet, half double crochets, or double crochets. So if you begin your circles with single crochets, in order for the circle to be a perfect circle and lay down nicely and flat, the beginning of the circle has to be anywhere from 6 to 8 stitches in the beginning circle. So in the magic ring, or in your beginning, the first round. Yeah. If you are working half double crochets, you want it to be anywhere between I'm confusing myself from the beginning. Single crochet anywhere from 6 to 10 stitches in the first circle. Half double crochet anywhere from 8 to 12 in the beginning, and double crochet anywhere from 10 to 14. Now the perfect circle in double crochet will be 12. The perfect circle in the half double crochet will be 10, and the perfect circle in the single crochet will be 8. Now if you want the circle to lay flat, those are the magic numbers. So single crochet is 8, half double crochet is 10, and double crochet is 12. And as a consequence of that, the half circles of those will be half of those numbers. So if you want to maintain a perfect circle, the circle has to have a multiple of those numbers. So if it's a single crochet, it has to be worked in a multiples of 8. So in the first round you do 8, and then you increase in the rules of the circle, which I assume you all know, but if you want me to explain those, then you can tell me in the comments and I will explain those as well. But so if you are working on a beginning circle of single crochets and you want your circle to lay flat and be a perfect circle, you have to start with 8. 8 is the magic number. But you can make circles depending on what you're making and what the rest of the stitches in your project are, anywhere from 6 to 10 single crochets in the beginning. Double crochet, the magic number would be 10. Half double crochets, the magic number will be 10 half double crochets in the circle, but you can also make 8 or 12. And for double crochet, the magic number will be 12, but you can also make 10 or 14. However, it always has to be an even number. Francie, at my local yarn shop, they hold back a few skeins for 2 weeks. That gives you a chance to start a project and figure out how much you need. I use this scale a lot to weight my yarn. Wow, that's really nice that they do that. That's a very great service, I must say. That they hold it for you to see if you need more for your project. I don't think all businesses do that. But yeah, so those are, the magic beginning numbers. And then circles have a very clear rule to them, which is with every row, the number of stitches and the multiple is like the number of the row. So the first row, we begin, for example, with 12 double crochets. So the next row will be 2 double crochets in each double crochet. And the third row, since we are on 3, every repetition will have 3 stitches. So it's 1 double crochet, increase, 1 double crochet, increase, 1 double crochet, increase. At row number 4, the multiple will have 4 stitches in it. The increase is 2 stitches. So at row number 4, we will do 1 double crochet in the first double crochet, 1 double crochet in the second double crochet, increase, and so on. And the rows continue. However, there is another magic rule, and that is that if you want your circle to lay flat and not look like a spiral or have corners in the places where you do your increases, you have to you have to have your increases not always at the same place. So from row 5 onward, up until row 4, the circle is worked the way I just said. So you begin the row with row 1, 12 stitches, row 2, 2 double crochets in each double crochet, row 3, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets in the next double crochet, 1 double crochet, increase, 1 double crochet, increase, row 4, 1 double crochet in the first one, 1 double crochet in the second one, and then increase and alternate. That is the word I was looking for. Thank you, Catherine. You have to alternate the places you do your increases. So from row 5 onwards, you have to alternate. So one time you begin the row with the increase. So at row 5, you begin the row with increase in the first stitch, and then 1, 2, 3. Increase in the next stitch, 1, 2, 3, increase in the next stitch, 1, 2, 3, and then row 6, you will do the increase at the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase. The next row, you will begin with the increase. So you'll do increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the next row, you will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, increase. 1, 2, 3. So if you alternate the place where the increase is, you will get a perfect circle. If you make your increases at the same place on each row, you will get a circle with little corners. So that's the rule of circles. And if you want to make a half circle, then just cut all the numbers that I just said in half. So instead of starting with 12 double crochets in the first round, you start with 6, and the next round you have 12, and the next round you do 1 increase, 1 increase, 1 increase, and the next row you do 2 increase, 2 increase, 2 increase, and so forth. And once again, alternate. If you want a perfect half circle, then you have to alternate the places where you do your increases. However, since it's a perfect half circle and you want a straight line on the top, the row has, just like in a triangle shawl, has to start and end with an increase. Francie, the yarn is more, yeah, normally the yarn in local yarn stores is more expensive. I personally wouldn't know. I don't have a local yarn shop. I spoke about that many times on my channel. I wish I did. Debbie says, wonderful information. I've never seen it like that. And Catherine says, now I remember why I don't like making circles. Okay, so I hope this helped. Let me know if any of the subject that we spoke about until now was not 100% clear. So we started with figuring out what the multiple is, and then we spoke about beginning chains and how to calculate your beginning chains, and I gave you that wonderful calculator. We spoke about sizing and how to use the multiple in order to work your work in a different yarn, or to size it to a different size. And we spoke about how to figure out how much yarn you used for a project, or how much yarn is used for a project, or how much yarn is in your ball. And we spoke about circles and triangles, and figuring out the increases and decreases of triangles and squares, and figuring out how to work the stitch pattern that you want in, or the multiple that you want, and how to adjust that into a decrease or an increase, and how we figure out how many rows before I can begin a new stitch count. Lori says, maybe when the kids get older, you can open a yarn shop in your area. That would be amazing. However, I have the feeling that I will just end up, buying for using all the yarn for myself. And I wonder if I'll have a lot of customers around here. I don't know a lot of people around here that knit, but then again, I don't know a lot of people around here. You start alternating after the 5th round, from the 5th round. So from row 5 onwards, yes. Do you have a link for the calculator? I didn't write the name. Yes, it's in the description box. Tamara, when you look at the description box underneath the video, there's a link. I could sell pastries too and call it the soft and sweet. Wow. That's a business for me. A Strickcafé. That's German. Yeah. Oh, that might be a startup around here. We don't have anything like that at all. I probably have a lot of customers. I wonder if there'll be more customers who come for the pastries or for the yarn, or ones that come for both. Reggie, you might consider putting all your Yarniversity lessons into a book. Oh, wow. That will take years until I can do that. I'm not that good in writing as I am in talk. I mean, I personally have a feeling that I get my message across better when I sit here and I explain it to you guys in words than when I write it down. So I do have everything written down, but I don't have the confidence that the material that I have written down is written in the same understandable way as I talk it. I hope that makes sense. Where am I that there are no yarn shops? I live in a very, very small, which reminds me, okay, sorry, I will answer your question in a second. I just have to tell you guys, it's very exciting news, and I can't believe that I forgot to tell you guys in the beginning. So I finally managed to get myself a P.O. box. One day I will tell you guys a tale, maybe in a second, the tale of how to get a PO box in Germany, but it has been a journey. But now I finally have a PO box, and in the description box below all my videos now you will also find the snail mail address, because a lot of people ask me. I do not expect anyone to send me anything, and I do not ask anyone to send me anything, but a lot of people did ask me and wanted to send me something, and I didn't want to give away my private address, so I now have a PO box, which took a lot of effort to get. And that's in the description box below. So, but to answer your questions, I live in a very, very small town right on the border between Germany and Holland, the Netherlands. It's actually, if that street that's next to my house, if you continue driving it straight all the way to the end, you're actually in the Netherlands already. I can, walk to a different country. And it's a very, very, very small town, a very kind of villagey area, and the nearest local yarn shop that's not like just a small section. If any of you watched my yarn shopping videos, and you saw that the stores that do hold yarn in them here are sort of like supermarkets or stuff like that, that also have a yarn section, and their yarn section is pretty much just like one of these closets that I have here, and that is the yarn section in each one of those stores, and there are maybe 3 or 4 of them that hold yarn. But local yarn shops that are literally just yarn, that sell all those unique yarns, luxurious yarns and all that kind of stuff, and have all kinds of patterns, and the old lady that works there that like knows everything. We don't have that here. The nearest one to me is in Aachen. That's like the big city in my area, and it is about 40 minutes drive for where I live. But we just don't. It sounds like it's not far away, but there's no need for us, other than maybe to go to that yarn store, to go there. So I don't get to go there often, and I didn't even know about that store until a few months ago, when actually one of my subscribers who lives in the Netherlands told me about it, because she said that she used to go there. If she wouldn't have told me, I wouldn't even know it's there. But in my town, in my very, very small town, and the 2 neighboring towns, which is pretty much like my world, or where I go and do all of my stuff in my life, there aren't any. Always dreamt of combining a bead shop with a coffee shop. Let's add yarn to the dream. Oh yes, Catherine, we can open one together. To buy yarn and then stay to eat the sweets and knit or crochet. Yeah, that's a perfect combo. Oh, thank you, Shell. Oh, you know what? That is a great idea. Thanks. I can send stuff to you, and you can read them for me. Lori says you would come for both. You could do sweets from around the world. Oh, that is amazing. Now, I love sitting here and dreaming up what I would do when I'll have, time and money and... It is a rare spelling. Oh, you're talking about your name. I saw that before. I bet you could do something with Hobby as a micro shop sort of thing. Hobby don't like me. No, that's an exaggeration. Oh, Hobby has no idea I exist. But they opened their first ever store in Germany, like actual store. And instead of, opening in one of the big cities in the region where I live, like Düsseldorf or Cologne, they open it in Hamburg. Like, okay, I will drive up there for the yarn. That's, but Hamburg is like, I don't know, 6 hours drive from where I live. Tamara says she thinks Europe is amazing, or at least how you imagine it. So many different culture and languages, only a train ride away. Yeah, it's true. You could drive for 4 hours but still be in Texas. Yeah, you know, I can also drive for 4 hours and still be in Germany. But specifically where I live, Belgium, so um, the Netherlands and Belgium are both like right around the corner. It's right here. And Luxembourg is also not very far away. And it from where I live, it's about 6 hours drive to Paris. Um, if you could answer this one question, I would really appreciate it. Can you tell us what American yarn you have wanted to use but can't get and have wanted to use? American yarn? Uh, that I wanted to use but couldn't because I don't know if you guys know. For those of you who haven't heard of that, I have a Facebook group called International Yarn Swap. It's something I started about 2 years before I started my channel, and it's still going. We have a monthly yarn swap internationally, so every month, if you want, you sign up, and you get a name of someone from a different country. Most of the time it's from a different country, although it can happen that you get something from your country and you swap yarn. So I did get some yarns from the States, but ones that I like, you mean ones that I see people show and I can't get here, is Scarfy, which I have been really dying to. I don't know why, because I'm pretty sure that I can get things very similar here, but so many people are loving the Scarfy, and I just want to see what it is. And oh, and the latte cakes. I've seen so many people loving the latte cakes. That's something I can't get here, and I don't even have the measurement of saying what does it feel like, so I could say, oh, that feels a lot like that yarn that I do have here, because I look at it and I see that it has like those that it has kind of like this furry eyelashy look to it, but it's not really eyelash yarn, it's not really fun fur, it's like somewhere in the middle, and everyone's saying it's so soft and so cuddly, and so I can't really compare it to anything, but I would really love to like have one just to see what it's like and to try to work with it. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I think we pretty much have a European version of every one of the yarns that you guys have in the States, probably because they are all made in Turkey. All right, Chelsea, thank you. I'll look it up. Lori's good in spending other people's time and money. Me too. 6 hours drive is just too far, even for yarn. Yes. Or I work for 4 minutes and be in the Netherlands. Exactly. Catherine lives 3 hours away from Paris and Amsterdam. Belgium is so small. You can go from one side to the other in 2 hours. Yeah, I know. When we drive, I mean, like I said, we live right on the Dutch border. And when we drive to the beach, we drive to the beach in the Netherlands. So it's a little less than 2 hours drive, and it's the beach so it's the other side of the Netherlands. So it's about about 2 hours from one side of the country to the other. On the other hand, Germany, if you want to drive west, I'm at the west of Germany, so if you want to drive west to East Germany, you probably need about 7 hours, and if you want to drive south to North Germany, you probably, with traffic, it'd probably take you like 12 hours. Texas is 40 times bigger than the Netherlands, but not even half of our inhabitants. Really? That is an interesting trivia. Wow, I didn't know that. I could get to Chicago in 3 hours, but barely go, so I get it. Yeah. Jean says, thank you for answering that question. Very good to know. Latte cakes feel like petting a bunny. Really? Cool. Now I know what they feel like. Sylvia says, I opened today for the first time, and I'm glad to know that you live a little bit close where I was born. But I'm from Portugal. Nice to hear from Germany. Yes. Oh, where do you live now? Do you live now in Portugal? And welcome, by the way. Julie found family records with it spelled Nicholson about 4 to 5 generations back. Oh, the name change or the spelling of the name. Latte cake feel very plasticky. Wait, how come one person says it feels plasticky and the other person says it feels like a bunny? Rachel says she was so excited to get some latte cakes, but when I use it, it feels like it is moisturizing my hands in a weird way. Oh, so that probably is what Jamie says about the plasticky feeling. Francie lived in Austin for 2.5 years. Austin, Texas. Cool. I was in the US for a very long time too. I did East Coast, Florida to New York in quite a long time. So we've seen a lot of it, but I haven't seen the West Coast at all, or the middle, or anything of that sort. And it was a long time ago. It was 2008. Lots of wide open empty spaces in big parts of the States. Yeah, well, I can imagine. It's, such a big country. In Kentucky, we can cross state north to south in 1.5 hours, east to west, 6 hours. Plastic bunny. This is a very close run for comment of the day now. You live 50 kilometers from Lisbon. Wow. It's on my to-go-to destinations. And Chrissy lives about 30 minutes from downtown Chicago, and you rarely go. Yeah, it's the same. I mean, like I said, I live not that far away from the big city. It's funny to say the big city because Aachen is like the biggest city around us, but in terms of Germany, it's like a tiny, tiny, tiny city. But I never go there. I mean, I have everything I have here, and public transport is not such a... You would figure the Germans will be more efficient with public transport. I'm very perplexed by the different opinions about latte cakes in the chat. So now I'm even more curious. Lori says she pets the latte cakes every time you see them. Feel as soft as I was expecting from everyone you heard. Hasn't laundered it though. Okay. It could be different after laundry. Catherine, you want to see the Lisbon Aquarium? Need a comment of the day logo. Yes. We can start something like that. All right. So you guys, it is 3 minutes to 9 p.m. here, and Granny D is going live in 3 minutes, and I hope that you all go over there and do a student rave, a student rave, a student raid at Granny D's. and tell her I sent you, and tell her I said hi, and tell her I sent my love. But I'm first gonna go have dinner. And after that, I will jump in if she's still alive by then. But for now, I am going to take you with me to choose the winner from last week's live chat. So I'm going to get the link, and I'm putting it in, and I'll take you guys with me. All right, so we are at the YouTube random comment picker, and I'm going to filter duplicate users and get the comments, and there are 39 comments. Oh my god, I think that's the most we had until now. I am, whew, you guys, it's getting more and more every week. I am very, very happy about that, and I hope that it will continue that way. So before we choose the winner, don't forget, when today's live chat is finished and goes back into replay, come back and comment down below which of the subjects we spoke about today was the most helpful for you and you found most useful, and enter for the prize that we will draw next week. Also, don't forget, next week our live game show with a ton of prizes for some amazing makers who donated amazing prizes, and it's gonna be trivia, and it's gonna be fun. We're gonna drink a lot, and it's gonna be a great day. So that's next week's Yarniversity. And don't forget that on the 14th of February there is no Yarniversity. We are closed. And yeah, and if you haven't yet, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, I would very much appreciate it if you subscribed. Don't forget all the discount codes that are in the description box below, all the different sales that did I tell you guys that there is a special discount code for my Etsy store for the release of the beanie? I don't know if I did, but I just did. So everything is in the description box below. And once again, for those of you who were interested with donating through PayPal, everything is in the description box below. If you donate through Super Chat, if you donated this week in any other way, thank you. And welcome to all of our new members. And if you are not yet a member and are interested in joining, that little join button next to the description box, next to the subscribe button down below. And if you can't find it, then in the description box below there's also a link that will take you directly to membership. And I very much appreciate all of your support, and I hope that you guys enjoy the content and find it useful and interesting. This coming week there is a new tutorial coming out that I'm very excited about. And later in February, there will be the hat tutorial that maybe some of you have seen on Instagram. If you don't yet follow me on Instagram, then come follow me. I show a lot of stuff on there that I'm working on at the moment. And I think I've said everything now, so it's time to choose the winner. And when we choose it, the winner will have 2 weeks to contact me. My email is in the description box below. I will need your full address so that I can ship your prize to you. If the winner does not claim their prize in 2 weeks, their winning is forfeited. And I will have to draw a new winner. So let's begin. And the winner is Ursula! Ursula for OM Granny Square. Congratulations. She says, Notion bags are my absolute favorite thing. I want to try project bags. Thanks so much for the fantastic live every time. Well, Ursula, you are the winner. And I remember that when we did the live last week, you mentioned that you would really love to have some fancy stitch markers. So maybe some of these will be in your surprise winning bag of notions. Maribel says she made her son a queen-size blanket with latte, very soft, washed and dried it, no problem, but there is shedding. Okay, good to know. Jamie says she loves watching her pet fish in the aquarium. Don't get the same calm feeling seeing fish bait swim around inside the refrigerator. I hadn't had fish in years. I have never gotten down the trick of how to keep your fish alive for long. In Florida, every other place is just driving forever north. If you drive east, west, south, you will hit water. Time for dinner. Yeah, I'm gonna go get dinner too. You like student rave? um, oh, Lori, I'm sorry. All right, so thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for being here today. I very much appreciate it. Yeah, everyone, congratulate Ursula. And you are very welcome to everyone saying thank you for the class. Thank you guys for being here and for listening to me every week and for coming and for supporting. And I am very, very happy. And so I am going to, as always, leave the chat going for a few minutes so that everyone can say goodbye to one another. And like I said, if you go over to Granny D, tell her, you know, student raid, hi, Reggie said hi, I love her very much, but I'm going to have dinner first, and then I will probably fall asleep. And I will see you all next time. So, bye.